The federal government has reiterated its commitment to phasing out the importation of photovoltaic solar panels into Nigeria, revealing that over 200 billion naira has been spent on these imports to date. Now, this move is part of a broader strategy to boost local manufacturing and reduce reliance on foreign renewable energy equipment. Speaking at a stakeholder roundtable held in Lagos, the CEO of the Rural Electrification Agency, Aliyu, stressed the need to localize the production of renewable energy components. However, stakeholders warn that an outright ban, if implemented hastily, could disrupt ongoing solar energy projects, drive up installation costs, and slow down Nigeria's transition to clean energy. Well, joining me now from our Lagos studio is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Rural Electrification Agency, Aliyu. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. I mean, this, at face value, it does seem like an interesting move to encourage local manufacturing of solar panels. But how much thinking really has gone into this, considering the fact that the capacity may not be there for Nigeria to produce and, provide for the large population?
Thank you very much for having me. I think the right statement or the right message that the federal government sent out, it's more around making Nigeria to be the renewable hub of Africa. It's not more around banning the importation of the PV panels. Of course, the federal government is very much aware of the need to make sure that the country has the local capacity production adequate enough to meet the demand of the country before you start banning any importation. The message that the Rural Electrification Agency stated during the roundtable is one that the federal government has mandated the Rural Electrification Agency to continue to utilize the existing policy programs and incentives to make sure that we have deliberately and strategically start putting in place measures that would ensure that we domesticate the production of all the renewable equipment in country. And this is very important because if you go back and look at the energy transition plan and look at the numbers that the country required to spend to achieve the net zero by 2060, a total of $410 billion is required. Out of which, if we look at the immediate 20 gigawatts required to put in place to electrify the existing number, we are talking about also about $40 billion. Now, all these numbers are not numbers that we should just look at and just ignore, are numbers that we should look into and make sure that we internalize them and see how do we use that numbers to make sure that substantial part of that numbers it's produced within the country. Not only looking at that numbers, if you go back to 2024 last year and look at the total number of job opportunities that has been created within the renewable space, a total of about 16.4 million jobs were created. Out of this, China alone, for example, contributed about 7.4 million. India, 1 million. EU, European Union contributed about 1.8 million. The entire African country contributed just 320,000 job opportunities out of the 16.4 million that was created. Not only that, out of the 320 that the African country contributed, how much did Nigeria contributed? Just a meager 76,000 of job opportunities created. And this is a country that we said that we have about 86 million Nigerians without access to electricity, which means that It's a country that required a lot of renewable drive to help address the electricity access gap. So with that kind of a number, with that kind of what the country needs, about $410 million to achieve a transition plan. And the country also that contributed just 76,000 job opportunities out of 16.4 million. And a country with so many people that are without access that daily require this renewable access to address the electricity access gap. We really need to think thoroughly in terms of our strategy to make sure that as we are addressing this gap, we are making sure that we are also incentivizing local manufacturing, and we are also making sure that we are growing our gross domestic product in country by creating these job opportunities, by making sure that these dollars that we are talking about, we do not just send them out of the country. Some of them are utilized within the country to create manufacturing, to create job opportunities, to enhance the revenue base of the country. And that is exactly what we are saying. And what we are also talking about is not just a rhetoric. We are putting in place these measures, and we have started crystallizing.
And that's exactly
crystallizing these opportunities.
That's exactly what I'm about to ask you. What exactly, in terms of strategies, are you putting in place to support local manufacturing of solar panels?
Exactly. So the main thing required to incentivize any investment in this country or in any country is to make sure that there is a market. And the Rural Electrification Agency has done that, has demonstrated that there is a market that exists. Through our project, the National Electrification Project, we have deployed over 1.5 million solar home system. We have also deployed over 200 mini grids across the country. And based on the success of the National Electrification Project, the federal government approved another round of funding of about $750 million, which is the biggest public sector funding for renewable project in the entire world. And on that project, we intend to deploy not only the 200 that we succeeded in deploying, but we are looking at deploying about 1,350 mini grids across the country. And we are looking at electrifying about 17.5 million Nigerians. So it's a market. This is an opportunity for investment. We shouldn't just see it as funding to catalyze more importation, but we should see it as a funding to catalyze localization of manufacturing in the country. So this is one of the things that we have done. We have demonstrated to the private sector that the market for renewable energy exists in the country. That's the first thing. The second aspect of it is for any private sector to make investment, apart from knowing that the market, they want to also be sure that there is an existence of technical skill and competences that can enable them put in place the manufacturing outfit and produce the goods or services required within the country. And we also have started working in that regard. One, we have, through our energizing education program, have trained 150 STEM students, female STEM students, that have been involved from soil testing to the commissioning of hybrid mini grid across different universities in the country. That is one of the things that we have done. And the plan is in place for additional training of 100 students across 15 universities that we have already deployed mini grids, which will give us a total of about 1,500 students trained in the renewable energy. We also have created a Resco Next program, which will start it in the next 2 weeks, whereby 70 technical staff or technical competencies will be selected and will be trained across the country. Okay. That program has already been done, and we received over 10,000 applications, and we are going to select and start. So we are building that the technical skills and competencies required to do the localization.
Fantastic. I mean, it's good to know that your plan is to strengthen local manufacturing capacity before you go ahead to ban the importation of solar panels. We'll have to say thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight tonight. Abba Aliyu is the MD, CEO of Rural Electrification Agency, joining us tonight on Newsnight.